By the time Yang Chun kills Duan Ling Tian and avenges his brother, I'll ask him for a favor. Recommend me as the disciple of that martial emperor behind him. Yun Gang's eyes glimmered with brilliance as he wore a confident expression. He'd owe me a favor, so it'll hard for him to reject my request. The disciple of a martial emperor. This was the true intention of Yun Gang. Long before after he had witnessed Yang Hong being killed by Duan Ling Tian, this idea had popped up in his mind. He thought of using Yang Hong's death and Duan Ling Tian so that Yang Chun would not be able to reject this request of his. As for the part where he asked Duan Ling Tian to become the sect leader of the Yin Yang sect later, that was just a small part of his plan so that Duan Ling Tian would remain with the sect. If he had not made such a request, Duan Ling Tian would have never remained. By that time, it would be useless even if he went to look for Yang Chun. The Cloud Continent was so vast. It might not be possible for him to find Duan Ling Tian, who had already left the Yin Yang sect to avenge Yang Hong's death. If Yang Chun could not find Duan Ling Tian, he would not be able to avenge Yang Hong, and that would mean that he would no longer owe him any favors. This was not something he wanted to see. For this reason, he persuaded the Yu brothers to invite Duan Ling Tian to become the sect leader of the Yin Yang sect that one time, and make him understand that request with reason and emotion. At the end, when Duan Ling Tian wanted to rename the Yin Yang sect without batting so much as an eyelid, this was because he knew that Duan Ling Tian would not be able to live for long. As the group of Ling Tian sect disciples left Ling Tian Peak to search for Kuer and Li Fei, breaking news spread out from their mouths like a hurricane. The Yin Yang sect has already been renamed as the Ling Tian sect. The Yin Yang sect no longer exists in this world. Yang Hong, the peak master of the Yang Peak of the Yin Yang sect, has killed the former peak master of the Yin Peak, who was in closed-door healing, causing his men to resent him intensely. In that critical moment, a young powerhouse made his appearance and killed Yang Hong. That young powerhouse was Duan Ling Tian, the current sect leader of the Ling Tian sect. For a moment, it seemed as if Ling Tian Peak was the eye of the storm, and people were speaking about this matter everywhere. Now, everyone knew that the Yin Yang sect no longer existed. The Ling Tian sect was now unleashed into this world, and not only that, it had a young and powerful sect master. The news spread swiftly in every direction. Soon, it almost reached every corner of the area close to the Ruo Shui River, near the southern area of the inner land. A small city stood by the area close to the Ruo Shui River, southward of the inner land. Although it was small, it was extremely lively. This was especially so for the restaurants that were bustling with activity all day long. On that day, two unexpected guests made their appearance in the small city. They were two gentle and graceful women clad in white, who had veiled faces. However, even by just looking at their exposed autumn eyes and penciled eyebrows, it was enough to see that they probably had exquisite, beautiful, and delicate faces that could topple even huge nations despite wearing veils. One of the women who had rather seductive eyes said to the other woman who looked slightly more naive judging by her eyes, "Younger sister Kuer, let's take a break for lunch before we continue our journey." "All right." The latter nodded her head faintly and agreed without hesitation. The two women entered the city and found a restaurant before sitting by a table beside the window. It was also quite rare for women to appear in this city, let alone women who were as beautiful as flowers. The moment these two women looked around, they immediately attracted the attention of many customers in the restaurant. However, although these two veiled women attracted most of the customers, not many of them dared strike up a conversation with them at all. Nobody could guess if these two women possessed horrifying strength or not. If they did, they would most likely end up dead should they dare to act boldly. For this reason, nobody dared to make a move. Soon, the restaurant's atmosphere became lively once more. Although some were glaring at the two women like greedy tigers, they only dared to keep to their thoughts instead of making a move. "Hey, have you heard the news already? The Yin Yang sect no longer exists." A middle-aged man's loud voice suddenly went over everyone's chatter in the restaurant, attracting the attention of many people. "The Yin Yang sect is gone? Don't tell me it's been demolished." Immediately, it caused the eyes of many to light up as they looked at the middle-aged customer. Right at this moment, even the two veiled women who were sitting by the window could not help but cast a side glance at the middle-aged customer before exchanging glances with each other. "Sister Fei, we just left the Yin Yang sect not long ago, but why did they say that it's already gone?" one asked the other. Don't take that news outside too seriously. The other woman shook her head in reply. These two women were none other than Kur and Li Fei, who had just left the Yin Yang sect not long ago. After they left, they began to cultivate as they headed north. Their destination was the Yuhan Valley, which was at the northern side of the inner land. The Yin Yang sect was a first-rate force. How could it have actually been annihilated so easily? The middle-aged customer continued. Then what happened? Exactly. Don't keep us guessing. Hurry up and tell us. Many customers egged him on. This story must have started from the time when the Peak Master and the Vice Peak Master of Yin Peak of the Yin Yang sect went for closed-door healing. Rumor has it that Yang Hong, the Peak Master of Yang Peak of the Yin Yang sect, went crazy and killed them when the two of them were in the midst of the closed-door healing. The middle-aged customer said slowly. To be honest, if the Peak Master and the Vice Peak Master of Yin Peak of the Yin Yang sect were hurt, they wouldn't have feared Yang Hong at all. However, the two of them who were already injured were no match for Yang Hong at all. Gasp, gasp, gasp. When the middle-aged customer reached this part of his story, the restaurant immediately was filled with a series of gasps. What the hell did that Peak Master of Yang Peak of the Yin Yang sect want to do? Why did he kill the two powerhouses from his own sect? Or maybe this news was fake after all. Many people voiced out their doubts. I heard that Yang Hong, the Peak Master of Yang Peak of the Yin Yang sect, wanted to become the sect master of the Yin Yang sect himself. So he decided to seize the opportunity to wipe out these two huge obstacles in Yin Peak. The middle-aged customer continued. Well, this is possible. Long ago, I've heard that the person who wants to become sect leader of the Yin Yang sect must possess a strength that can overpower everyone in the sect. Otherwise, the Yin Yang sect can only be commanded together by the Peak Master of Yin Peak and the Peak Master of Yang Peak. Many people nodded their heads. I never expected this matter to spread, especially to this place. A flash of brilliance flashed across Li Fei's autumn eyes. The red lips beneath the veil moved slightly as she muttered in a voice that only Kur could hear. Sister Feier, I miss Master and Senior Sister already. The autumn eyes beneath the naturally arched brows were gleaming brightly. Tears threatened to fall any time, making her appear pitiful, so much so that one would have an impulse to rush up to embrace her. I miss them too. Don't worry, we'll avenge them, Li Fei said solemnly. All right, Kur nodded obediently. Then, in this case, that Peak Master of Yang Peak of the Yin Yang sect must have become the sect leader of the Yin Yang sect now. But why did you say that the Yin Yang sect no longer exists? Don't tell me that because the Yin Yang sect has now lost their two powerhouses, were they demolished by the other rival forces? A voice resonated and attracted the attention of everybody, including Li Fei and Kur. Immediately, everybody looked towards the middle-aged customer. Of course not. The middle-aged customer shook his head. There were a total of 4 mighty people in the Yin Yang sect. Aside from the 2 from the Yin Peak, there were 2 more in the Yang Peak. As long as the 2 from the Yang Peak were still there, no other forces would dare to act recklessly. That's not all. According to the rumors, the Peak Master Yang Hong actually had quite an impressive background. As for how impressive it is, please don't ask me. I don't know much as well. I only heard all these from hearsay around me. Perhaps not many people in the Yin Yang sect know about Peak Master Yang Hong's background as well, he added. What the hell? For a moment, many of them looked at the middle-aged customer in scorn. Some even showed him their middle finger. Quickly, get to the main point. Why did you say that the Yin Yang sect no longer exists? Well, I still must start from the time when the Peak Master and the Vice Peak Master of Yin Peak of the Yin Yang sect went for closed-door healing. I heard that the Vice Peak Master had 3 direct disciples who were as close as sisters. All of them are beauties who could topple an entire nation. The son of Yang Peak's Peak Master fell for one of them, and so, for the sake of his son, he, under Kur and Li Fei's gaze, the middle-aged customer blurted out their stories. In the end, he reached the part where their senior sister Yang Shui died for their sake to help them escape and survive. Although they were already mentally prepared, Kur and Li Fei's graceful and delicate bodies could not help but tremble a little as their autumn eyes watered the moment their suspicion about the death of their senior sister Yang Shui was confirmed. Senior sister, Kur gripped her little fists tightly. Her tears dripped down soundlessly but were soon evaporated from her origin energy. Brave beauties. Women should not lose to men. After the group of customers in the restaurant heard that Yang Shui did not spare sacrificing her life to save her 2 junior sisters, each of them raised a thumbs and showered her with compliments. I heard that the moment Yang Shui was killed, Yang Hong and his son immediately gave chase to her two junior sisters. And at this moment, a gigantic five-colored sword ray appeared from the sky, piercing the center of the Yang Peak mountain, causing the lava within the Yang Peak to erupt. With that, it became an active volcano despite being originally dead. The middle-aged customer continued. Who's actually that daring? Many people were immediately stunned. Actually, almost every martial monarch who had sufficient strength could pierce through the Yang Peak with just a swing of their sword. However, it was one thing to be able to do it, and another to have the guts to actually pull it off. Such an action would offend the Yin-Yang sect, a formidable giant by itself. Unless one had almighty strength and was fearless toward the Yin-Yang sect, one would definitely end up dead. Well, if we're going to talk about this person who launched the attack, we've to start the story from the two women who escaped from the grip of Yang Hong and his son. The middle-aged customer continued. What does this have to do with them? Quite a number of people frowned from being perplexed, their curiosities getting the better of them. For a moment, even the two women themselves, Kuer and Li Fei, who sat by the window, temporarily suppressed their sadness at the bottom of their hearts as they looked at the middle-aged man in unison. The women he was gazing at were none other than the two of them. It's rumored that the powerhouse who destroyed Yang Peak was the fiancé of the two women, the middle-aged customer uttered in a single breath. Fiancé. The moment the words left the customer's mouth, the entire restaurant burst into an uproar. Young master. Kuer's clear brown eyes lit up, but soon dimmed again. She did not believe that her young master would have the ability to destroy Yang Peak. I can't believe that Yang Hong would actually spread such fake news to catch us. Does he really think that we'd fall for it? Li Fei's eyes gleamed brilliantly as she muttered. And then, the crowd gaped at the customer who spoke up in curiosity and asked further. Then, the young powerhouse empty-handedly snatched away the saber belonging to Yang Hong, the peak master of the Yin-Yang sect's Yang Peak, which was cast out with his full strength. In doing so, he forced Yang Hong to retreat, and then, in just one blow, he killed Yang Hong and his son. The crowd burst into mayhem once again. Yang Hong, the peak master of the Yin-Yang sect's Yang Peak, could be deemed as quite an infamous and influential person in the southern part of the inner land that was close to the Ruoshi River. Yet, such a mighty person had been killed in just one single blow. How strong exactly was that person's cultivation base? Looks like they really are spreading fake news deliberately. Kuer sighed. Even though she was unwilling to believe that her young master had really come to the Yin-Yang sect in the inner land at first, she could not help but still cling on to that feeble hope of denial. Listening to the middle-aged customer now, her hopes dissipated entirely. What he had just said was just too far-fetched. It was simply impossible. He empty-handedly snatched away Yang Hong's saber, with which he unleashed his full strength. How strong would that person have to be then? Even her most admired and respected master might not be able to beat Yang Hong, who unleashed his full power, if she were to use her spirit weapon and exert her full strength. If her young master really was that strong, then it meant that he would have far exceeded her master. She refused to believe it no matter what. She did not even dare to believe that an ounce of this was true at all, even if her young master's innate talent and comprehension level were so high that it was out of this world. I believe the story will continue to be even more far-fetched, Li Fei muttered. Just as the words left Li Fei's mouth, the middle-aged customer had already continued his story, and so, after the young powerhouse killed Yang Hong and his son, the three high officials of Yang Peak present were frightened out of their wits. In the end, all of them asked that young powerhouse to become the sect leader of the Yin-Yang sect instead. Although the young powerhouse agreed to it, he voiced out one request, that the Yin-Yang sect be renamed to become the Ling Tian sect from now on. The middle-aged customer swept a glance at the surroundings before unfolding the story. Ling Tian sect? Ling Tian? What a delirious name. Many people were dumbfounded. If all of these are true, even if he's delirious, he's worthy enough as he possesses such immense strength that allows him to be delirious. Tell me how many people have such a powerful technique like his? He actually killed the top-notch high officials of the Yin-Yang sect and became the sect leader of the sect. Somebody interjected. Without a doubt, the emergence of the Ling Tian sect means that the Yin-Yang sect no longer exists in this world. So, now all of you understand why I said that just now, don't you? The middle-aged man asked them rhetorically. The crowds nodded their heads one by one. Since the Yin-Yang sect was now renamed as the Ling Tian sect, it confirmed the end of its existence. Perhaps, another several dozen years, or even hundreds of years later, nobody would come to remember that there once was a first-rate force named the Yin-Yang sect which existed near the Ruo Shui River at the southward of the inner land. This way, that young powerhouse has become the first sect leader of the Ling Tian sect, the middle-aged customer concluded. Do you know what's the name of the sect master of the Ling Tian sect? The people asked. I heard that his name is the same with the Ling Tian sects. His full name is Duan Ling Tian. The customer's eyes shone brightly as he revealed. Duan Ling Tian. At once, the crowd learned this name by heart. The new powerhouse at the southern part of the inner land of the Cloud Continent that was near the Ruo Shui River was the leader of the first-rate force, the Ling Tian sect. On top of that, I heard that the sect master of the Ling Tian sect has also issued an order. Any Ling Tian sect disciple who can find his 2 fiancées will get a grade 1 spirit weapon and a bottle of grade 1 life recovery pills, he added. The moment the group of customers in the restaurant heard this, their eyes lit up right away. A grade 1 spirit weapon? The sect master of the Ling Tian sect is really giving his all. Other than the grade 1 spirit weapon, there's another bottle of grade 1 life recovery pills. How fantastic if I could find his 2 fiancées. Who knows? I might be able to get those rewards instead. Many people piped up. Perhaps the rewards that he offers will only go to the Ling Tian sect disciples. After all, as the saying goes, keep the good stuff within the family. You have a point. Many of them agreed the moment they heard this. You're wrong if you think so. The middle-aged customer shook his head and chimed in. I heard that not long after that, the Ling Tian sect will release and spread the drawings of the sect leaders' fiancés without restraint. By that time, the rewards will be up for grabs for everybody. The moment these words left his mouth, the eyes of everybody in the restaurant lit up. Are you serious? If that's the case, it'd be a great opportunity for us. Even though it'd be like finding a needle in a haystack, but who knows? We might luck out and happen to find his 2 fiancés. Many people were tempted by the lure of the rewards. Not only that, I heard that whoever manages to find one of the 2 fiancés of the sect master of the Ling Tian sect will be rewarded with a grade 1 spirit weapon and a bottle of grade 1 life recovery pills. If you find 2 of them, then you'll be rewarded 2 grade 1 spirit weapons and 2 bottles of grade 1 life recover pills. The middle-aged customer continued to drop his large bombs, making the entire restaurant buzz with excitement. 2 grade 1 spirit weapons, 2 bottles of grade 1 life recovery pills. It was enough to make them go into a frenzy. See, I was right. It really gets way more far-fetched in the end. Li Fei muttered as a glimmer flashed across her eyes. Sister Feier, I think it's best if we leave now. I keep having a feeling that it's not safe for us to be here. Dread rose in her eyes. All right, Li Fei nodded. They did not even have time to order any food yet. Standing up, she was prepared to leave with Kur. However, as fate would have it, even if they wanted to leave, it did not mean that they could. Yo, 2 beauties. Where are you guys going? A young man in his 30s strolled into the restaurant, and another middle-aged man followed suit behind him. The former displayed a cynical attitude towards life, whilst the latter was faithful and attentive to his duties. The young man was staring at Kur and Li Fei with a devilish smile on his face. Beauties, why don't you take your veils off right now? Who knows? I might make you my 7th and 8th wives if I take a fancy towards you. The young man leered up and down Kur and Li Fei without any restraint. It's the eldest son of the Ku clan, Ku Pai. Looks like they're out of luck now. Not many women to whom he takes a fancy can escape his devilish snare. What a pity. Many customers were alerted by the commotion. They glanced at Kur and Li Fei with pity as all of them felt that the 2 girls had struck a bad patch. From the edge of the veil, Li Fei's exposed eyes narrowed before sweeping a cold glance at Ku Pai. Her red lips spat out bluntly from behind the veil. Idiot. Without even waiting for Ku Pai to reply, she grabbed Kur's hand and pulled her outside. Stop. Seeing the 2 girls ignore him and even call him an idiot, Ku Pai's face darkened immediately. In a flash, he immediately blocked the 2 girls. You bitches, I was nice to you, yet you're so ungrateful. Today, I'll bring you both back and turn you into my slaves. Ku Pai glared at Li Fei and Kur as he hissed. You're just looking to die. Even a clay figurine had a temper, let alone Li Fei, who was short-tempered. As her eyes turned cold, she advanced towards Ku Pai as fast as lightning. Her slender, pale hand swept out without any mercy. Bam, bam, bam. Li Fei thrust out a palm, setting off a series of detonations in succession. In just the blink of an eye, her hand had already reached Ku Pai. Ku Pai did not even realize what was happening at all. Almost at the same time, The middle-aged man behind Ku Pai snorted and charged in an attempt to block Li Fei's attack. Unfortunately, when he just made his move, Ku'er had also reacted at Li Fei's side. Blocking him, she cast a palm to meet his. Bam! A loud sound reverberated in the air, followed by a series of ear-piercing explosions. Then, a series of hurricanes tore out from where the two palms met and swept across the entire restaurant. Many empty tables were all blown away. Those who had a lower cultivation base were forced to squint their eyes as a result of the strong wind. Boom! Before the wave of hurricanes subsided, another wave arose. As Ku'er and the middle-aged man's palms met each other as equal matches, Li Fei's slender, pale hand also landed on Ku Pai's body. To be more precise, it landed on Ku Pai's dantian. With just a light bang, Li Fei sent Ku Pai flying backward. Origin energy gushed out of his dantian uncontrollably like a deflating balloon. Bam! Ku Pai crashed onto the ground violently. After smashing into a few tables and chairs, he finally came to a gradual stop. Ignoring his pain, he immediately checked his dantian. With just one check, the color drained from his face right away. My dantian is crippled. Why you're so ruthless? Ruthless? Looking at Li Fei, Ku Pai's eyes were filled with grief and anger as he continued to bellow. How dare you cripple my young master's dantian? Don't even think of escaping now. The moment the middle-aged man heard Ku Pai's bellow that was filled with grief and wrath, his face darkened. Instantly, he pounded towards Li Fei and Ku'er, not even bothering to think about the fact that Ku'er's strength alone was already an even match for his. At that very second, he only had one thought in his mind: kill these two women. Otherwise, he would face the consequences. Unfortunately, despite both parties having already unleashed their spirit weapons, in the face of Li Fei and Ku'er's joined forces, it only took them one blow to kill him. The both of you, hurry up, leave. The Ku clan is a big household, and it's also a second-rate force that takes firm root in this city. They're not somebody you two should easily offend. Somebody kindly reminded Li Fei and Ku'er using voice transmission. The moment they heard the voice, they also started to realize the severity of the problem. With extremely grave expressions, they immediately left the restaurant and the small city. I can't believe that they're martial monarchs too. After Li Fei and Ku'er left, many people gushed. It had never crossed their minds that these two fragile-looking women actually possessed such powerful strength. Earlier, many of them had harbored evil ideas towards these two girls. However, after they saw Ku Pai lying on the ground like a dead dog, they were overwhelmed with fear. This time, the Ku clan's eldest son is crippled and a martial monarch is dead. I believe that the Ku clan won't just leave the matter at that, somebody said with a dreadful expression. The rest of the people present agreed with him. The Ku clan was a second-rate force, and in the entire inner land of the Cloud Continent, it was deemed no one. However, locally, the Ku clan was an absolute tyrant in this small city that nobody dared to offend easily. Those who wanted to forge a relationship with the Ku clan proceeded to send Ku Pai, the eldest son of the Ku clan, whose dantian was crippled back. This scenario caused a commotion in the entire Ku clan. Then, 3 of the remaining 5 martial monarchs wanted to track down Li Fei and Ku'er, who had crippled Ku Pai's dantian and killed the Ku clan's martial monarch. Any one of the 3 martial monarchs that the Ku clan dispatched was more powerful than the person whom Li Fei and Ku'er had joined forces to kill. Among the 3, the strongest was on the 3rd-level martial monarch stage, while the weakest one was on the 2nd-level martial monarch stage. Unfortunately, after half a day of searching relentlessly, they still could not find Li Fei and Ku'er at all. Soon, the Ku clan released 2 drawings. In each of the drawings was a veiled woman, and other than the area that was covered, both of their eyebrows and eyes were drawn clearly, although the 2 of them wore veils. Whoever had seen the drawings before would be able to recognize them in just one glance the moment they saw their brows and eyes, because the drawings were so similar to the real women. Coincidentally enough, on the same day when the Ku clan disseminated the 2 drawings, one of the female disciples from the Ling Tian sect happened to pass by and see those 2 drawings. Its junior sister Li Fei and Ku'er. This female disciple was also the former female disciple of the Yin Peak from the Yin Yang sect. In just one glance, she could recognize that the drawings of the veiled women were of Li Fei and Ku'er. After inquiring, she began to understand the whole story. How dare he touch the fiancés of our sect master? The Ku clan is really seeking for death, she thought to herself. However, although she had those thoughts, she did not approach the Ku clan to settle the issue with them. She was clear about her own limitations, and she knew that she would not be able to inflict much damage on the Ku clan alone. At once, she flew back to the Ling Tian sect at full speed. By the time Duan Ling Tian learned about this news, a few days had passed. Instantly, he brought the gold thug to the small city that the Ku clan was situated in. The Ku clan. Standing above the Ku clan mansion, a sneer spread across Duan Ling Tian's mouth. "Master, do you want me to annihilate this Ku clan?" the gold thug asked. "Not now. I want to see whether I'll be able to coax some information out of the Ku clan's eldest son first. Perhaps we'll find some clues that the two girls left behind." The moment Duan Ling Tian's words left his mouth, he landed in the Ku clan grounds in a flash. Coincidentally, he landed in the large courtyard where Ku Pai, the eldest son of the Ku clan, stayed in. The gold thug followed behind Duan Ling Tian like a shadow. "Who are you?" Duan Ling Tian's appearance took many people by shock. Among them were Ku Pai himself and the few servants who were responsible for serving him. "Are you Ku Pai?" In the eyes of Ku Pai, who was sitting at the large courtyard sunbathing, the purple-clad young man in front suddenly disappeared the moment he raised this question before reappearing in front of him again. Who are you?" Horror dawned on Ku Pai. At the same time, he hastily signaled to the servants beside him with his eyes. It was apparent that he wanted to ask them to call for help. This purple-clad young man gave him a solid sense of pressure. Right away, the few servants by his side immediately left the great courtyard hastily. Neither Duan Ling Tian nor the gold thug who was behind him proceeded to block their paths at all. It was as though they did not see them leaving at all. Of course, with Duan Ling Tian and the gold thug's abilities, it was no doubt impossible for them not to notice the few servants leaving. They just were not bothered by it. "Tell me everything about the two girls that you saw a few days ago," Duan Ling Tian asked nonchalantly as he studied Ku Pai with a calm look. "What girls?" Ku Pai could not put the two and two together yet because of his rising anxiety. "The two girls who crippled your Dantian," Duan Ling Tian reminded. "Those two bitches." Just as Duan Ling Tian's words left his mouth, Ku Pai finally came back to his senses. Instantly, he recalled the two girls whom he had met a few days ago and was immediately overcome with wrath. Subconsciously, he cursed out loud. However, the moment the words left his mouth, he immediately came to regret it. It was apparent that the purple-clad young man was there for the sake of the two girls. Now that he had cursed the two girls out loud in front of him, the man might be pissed off. Just as Ku Pai thought about this, he could feel a gush of icy aura being emitted from this purple-clad young man. It soon pressed on his body in just a blink of an eye, so much so that he could hardly breathe. In the next instance, neither did he see any movement from the purple-clad young man and the golden-robed old man at all, nor did he hear anything. But he suddenly felt a heart-rending pain from his shoulder. It was so anguishing that he could not suppress the shrill shriek coming from his own mouth. When he finally realized what was happening, he noticed that one of his arms was already severed off. At once, he was so shocked that the color drained from his face. It was so painful that he broke out into a cold sweat. "Why you?" He glared at the purple-clad young man in front with fury. Yet, he could not utter a sound at all. Or to be more precise, he dared not utter a sound at all. What a joke. This guy could chop off his arm without any sound, which meant that he could also kill him quickly and soundlessly. No matter how enraged he was, he did not dare to infuriate this guy any further anymore. Right then, he only wished that the servants who had already left would fetch help as soon as possible. Only then could he be saved. "When my father gets here, I'll make him wish that he's better off dead." With the help of his concept, he pressed on his wound to stop the blood from flowing out rapidly. At the same time, there was a cold brilliance deep inside Ku Pai's gaze that was about to devour a certain somebody. "I don't want to repeat what I said just now." Duan Ling Tian's tone was still very calm, as though he had not just crippled Ku Pai's arm. The words that appeared to be calm sounded like devilish words in Ku Pai's ears, causing the blood to drain from his face as he immediately replied hastily, I'll tell. Then, he told everything that had happened on that day out, not daring to omit or hide anything at all. After listening to Ku Pai's story, Duan Ling Tian did not get any clue from his words at all. Immediately, his gaze turned cold, and he continued to glare at Ku Pai. This man dared to be so disrespectful towards his fiancées. "I've answered you. Why you can't kill me? You can't kill me." After noticing the icy glare in Duan Ling Tian's eyes, Ku Pai anxiously pleaded. His eyes and face were filled with despair. Just as Duan Ling Tian was about to cast his move to kill Kapai, a boisterous voice resonated from outside the large courtyard, and it was getting nearer. Who are you? How dare you act so wantonly in our clan? Whoosh, whoosh. Soon, two gushes of wind blew into the large courtyard. In the next instance, two men appeared beside Kapai. One was an aged, sturdy man, while the other was an old, skinny man. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the next instance, another three men appeared by Kupai's side. There was a curly-bearded man, while the other two were middle-aged. After the curly-bearded man saw Kupai's severed arm, horror dawned on his face, and he proceeded to pick up the arm to attach it back to his son's body. Boom. Unfortunately, before he could pick up the severed arm, a gust of mighty energy gushed out and crushed the severed arm into powder within seconds. That was the work of the gold thug standing behind Duan Ling Tian. He had destroyed Kupai's severed arm swiftly. You're going to hell. Instantly, the face of the curly-bearded man turned grave, and his origin energy soared out of his body. At the same time, his profundity and concepts followed like a shadow and instantly pounded towards the gold thug, unleashing all of his second-level martial monarch stage techniques. You're like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The gold thug snorted and took a stride forward. Nobody saw him making any other move at all, but without warning, a burst of energy skyrocketed from his body and charged out towards the man. Boom. In a second, the curly-bearded man was drowned and reduced into ashes, vanishing from this world forever. A second-level martial monarch stage martial artist had died just like that, without even fully understanding why. The moment Kupai saw this, terror dawned on him as he cried out shrilly, "Father, clan leader!" The color drained from the faces of the two middle-aged men who had appeared together with the curly-bearded men. It had never crossed their minds that this person, who had been breathing just a moment ago beside them, could turn into ashes in just a blink of an eye. There was not even a trace of a corpse or any bones left behind. Who the hell are you? Compared to the nervous energy from Kupai and the other two, the two old men stared at Duan Ling Tian and the gold thug with serious expressions as they asked with dread in their eyes. You don't even know who my master is, yet you dare to offer a reward to chase and kill my two misses? What huge guts you guys have. The gold thug stared at the two old men with a curl in the corner of his mouth. The two of you. Is there any misunderstanding? The sturdy old man asked with a wry smile. Yes, perhaps it's only a misunderstanding. The skinny old man piped up too. Although the two of them were the strongest in the Ku clan, they were both on the third-level martial monarch stage. They understood very well that even they could not kill their clan leader of the Ku clan, who was on the second-level martial monarch stage, in just one blow. This golden-robed old man in front posed as a frightening threat to them. Misunderstanding, the gold thug snorted. With a raise of his hand, two drawings appeared in his palm, and he tossed them out casually. Are you trying to say that this is a misunderstanding? When they saw the two drawings of the veiled women, all five of the Ku clan members, including Kapai and the two old men, turned pale right away. Boom. The sturdy old man was the first to return to his senses. With a raise of his hand, he thrust a palm towards Kapai and killed him straight. Without a doubt, Kapai had been the initiator of this incident. After the sturdy old man killed Kapai, he told Duan Ling Tian and Gold Thug with an anxious look on his face, "Guys, everything regarding this is Kupai's fault. It's unrelated to our Ku clan. Now, the Ku clan has already put him to death, so this is our way of apologizing to you." Duan Ling Tian merely glanced at the Ku clan's people who were worried. He was not bothered about them at all, and he vanished without a trace before their eyes. A voice sounded in the air at the moment he disappeared. "Gold Thug, I don't want to see the Ku clan ever again." "Yes, master." The Ku clan's people's faces changed drastically when they heard Duan Ling Tian's words. On the contrary, the Gold Thug's eyes lit up. Bang! Before the four remaining martial monarch powerhouses from Ku clan could react, a raging milky flame rose from Gold Thug's body. Three types of profundities trailed after it like shadows. He did not have an opportunity to fight ever since he followed Duan Ling Tian to the berserk mongrel rodent clan to fight. He could not take it anymore. He felt excited now that he was presented with a chance to fight. Bang, 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 bang. Gold Thug displayed his strength as a 6th-level martial monarch powerhouse. Those four people from Ku clan were just at the 3rd-level martial monarch stage. Gold Thug's strength overwhelmed them and turned them into ashes. Once Gold Thug killed the Ku clan's martial monarchs, it was easy for him to deal with the others from Ku clan. A terrifying energy rumbled with a casual stomp of his foot. Terrifying cracks appeared on the ground of the Ku clan's mansion. It looked like a spider web as it continued to spread, showing no signs of stopping. Bang, 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 bang. The buildings in the Ku clan's estate collapsed one after another. It turned into a ruin in just a blink of an eye. What remained were the blood splatters on the ground and a few people who attempted to escape by flying. Naturally, it was impossible for these people to escape under Gold Thug's watch. In merely 15 minutes, apart from Gold Thug, there were no other living humans in the ruined Ku clan's estate. What happened to the Ku clan? Oh God, who did this? This is crazy. The incident in Ku clan created a ruckus and was hard to ignore. Soon after, many people from the small city gathered there to see what was going on. All of them were shocked when they saw the Ku clan was ruined. Disbelief was written on their faces. I just passed by the Ku clan's estate half an hour ago. Everything was fine when I passed by. The Ku clan fell into ruins without any survivors. Who did this? That person's ability is too terrifying. There was fear in the people's eyes as they discussed this among themselves. Everyone was still in shock about how the Ku clan was destroyed by someone in just half an hour when a loud and deep voice sounded from above, scaring them. Whoever tries to harm my two fiancés, Duan Ling Tian, will end their family. Ku clan's just the beginning. Duan Ling Tian? Is that the sect master who changed the name of Yin Yang sect to the Ling Tian sect? Someone regained his senses and looked at the sky. Soon after, people lifted their heads to look at the sky one after another. A purple silhouette appeared before their eyes. It was a handsome young man with straight eyebrows. He exuded an aura of elegance as his purple robe fluttered in the wind. It was as though he was one with heaven and earth. So he's sect master Duan Ling Tian from the Ling Tian sect? He's really as young as the rumor says. Many people exclaimed. In the next second, all they saw was a flash before the purple figure disappeared. A gold silhouette trailed after the purple silhouette like a shadow and disappeared before everyone's eyes as well. He's gone. Many people felt relieved. Although the purple-clad young man was standing far away from them high up in the sky, they felt waves of pressure. The pressure vanished along with the purple-clad young man's departure. Whoever tries to harm my two fiancés, Duan Ling Tian, will end their family. Ku clan's just the beginning. Soon after, the people present recalled Duan Ling Tian's words. Based on the sect master of Ling Tian's sect's words, it seems like Ku clan did something to his two fiancés. Many of them speculated among themselves. Really? Is the Ku clan so daring? Most of them found it hard to believe. One must know that the news about the sect master of Ling Tian, Duan Ling Tian, looking for his two fiancés had spread to the smallest city they lived in. They believed the Ku clan must have heard about the news too. Did the Ku clan really have the guts to go against Duan Ling Tian and offend the Ling Tian sect? Oh, soon after, someone speculated. From what I know, the Ku clan conducted a big search a couple of days ago to look for the two veiled ladies who severed the Ku clan's young master's cultivation base. Do you think the two ladies are the sect master of Ling Tian's sect's fiancés? After that person spoke, the people broke into an uproar. That's possible. That can't be. I've seen the two veiled ladies at a restaurant before. If they're really the sect master of Ling Tian's sect's fiancés, they should know that the sect master of Ling Tian's sect is looking for them. Logically, they should have returned to the Ling Tian sect. But Ling Tian sect had just sent out the paintings today, so it's clear that the fiancés of the sect master of Ling Tian sect have yet to return. Who has the paintings? Soon after, someone took out the two paintings from Ling Tian's sect. It was the paintings of two beautiful ladies. It's really them. Soon after, someone else took out another two paintings. It was the paintings that Ku clan sent out. Although the two ladies in the paintings had veils on their faces, their eyebrows and eyes looked exactly like the beautiful ladies in the paintings from Ling Tian's sect. That means they've yet to return to the Ling Tian sect. The ladies must be throwing a tantrum since they're unwilling to return. Whether they're throwing a tantrum or not, since they've yet to return, that means we still have a chance of finding them. That's right. The people became excited as though they were injected with chicken's blood and rushed out of the city one after another. It was as though they could already see the Grade 1 spirit weapon and Grade 1 medicinal pill beckoning to them. The city was extra crowded today. On the other hand, the news about Duan Ling Tian, the sect master of Ling Tian sect, destroying the Ku clan for his women quickly spread out. Some people called Duan Ling Tian cold-blooded and ruthless. Some of them said Duan Ling Tian was honorable. He did not mind killing to avenge his women. No matter what, Duan Ling Tian was famous now. Whoever tries to harm my two fiancés, Duan Ling Tian, will end their family. Ku Clan's just the beginning. Duan Ling Tian's words became the topic of conversations. Suddenly, all the single ladies from the Ruo Shui River area on the south of the inner land had their hearts set on Duan Ling Tian, the sect master of Ling Tian's sect, even though they have never met him. As a woman, I'll die without regrets if I can be the wife of the sect master of Ling Tian's sect. As the news spread out, apart from those single virgins, even a group of sulky, married women had their hearts set on Duan Ling Tian. That's a man. That's a real man. If anyone destroys a clan for me like the sect master of Ling Tian's sect, I'll definitely abandon my husband and marry him. It was proven that women's power was boundless. In just a short while, the women put Duan Ling Tian in the limelight. He became the most desirable lover in the Ruo Shui River area on the south of the inner land. I'll definitely marry the sect master of Ling Tian's sect if I were born 70 years earlier. Even some old ladies with a foot in the grave often said such words. The news spread like a tornado to the Ling Tian sect. Duan Ling Tian was speechless when he heard the news. These women are ridiculous. Duan Ling Tian shook his head helplessly. He did not expect the words he said in anger would carry so much weight. What? Are the both of you taking pleasure from my misery? Duan Ling Tian turned around quickly as though he had eyes on his back. He stared angrily at Xiong Quan and Gold Thug, who were snickering behind him. Meanwhile, Feng Tianwu stood at the side. Her eyes were reserved as she looked at Duan Ling Tian. I wonder if he would do the same for me. Feng Tianwu thought to herself. Sect Master, someone at the door wants to see you. He claims to be your friend. A loud voice in the distance sounded suddenly. Xiong Quan and Gold Thug felt relieved. The man's arrival had gotten them out of trouble. My friend, Duan Ling Tian, shifted his attention to the incoming person. It was an old man. He was a 4th-level martial monarch and a Ling Tian sect's elder. The old man was respectful when he met Duan Ling Tian. He did not dare to be careless. Yes, that's what he said. The old man nodded respectfully. Did he say what his name is? Duan Ling Tian asked curiously. He said he's Chen Xiao Shui. He said as soon as I tell Sect Master his name, Sect Master will. The old man continued to speak. However, he was interrupted by Duan Ling Tian before he could finish his sentence. Duan Ling Tian looked at the old man and asked solemnly, Are you sure he said he's Chen Xiao Shui? Yes. The old man nodded. Where's he now? Duan Ling Tian asked urgently. Chen Xiao Shui was Sword Young Master, one of the 5 great young masters in the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. During the competition among the young geniuses in the Darkstone Empire, Chen Xiao Shui did not get into the martial competition. Although he failed to get himself a place in the martial competition, he decided to explore the world on his own. Ever since then, Duan Ling Tian did not hear about him again. Crazy young master Luo Zhan left with sword young master Chen Xiao Shui back then. Since then, Duan Ling Tian did not hear about Luo Zhan as well. It was odd that someone would come uninvited and claim to be Chen Xiao Shui. Led by the Ling Tian sect's elder, Duan Ling Tian soon saw a silhouette standing in the distance. The silhouette stood as straight as a spear, emitting a haughty aura. The familiar face had turned more sorrowful now after years of not seeing each other. The man's frivolity was no longer there. It had been replaced by stability and maturity instead. He seemed like a new man now. Why are you here? Duan Ling Tian greeted the familiar silhouette in the distance with a warm and charming smile before he even arrived near him. The familiar silhouette before him was none other than Chen Xiao Shui. Back when they were still at the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom, he and Sword Young Master Chen Xiao Shui clicked and became friends. Duan Ling Tian was happy to see him again after so many years, even though he was a little surprised to see him here. This was the inner land on Cloud Continent. Even you are here, so why can't I be here? A fierce aura permeated the air. In a blink of an eye, Chen Xiao Shui disappeared from where he was standing and appeared before Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian, it's been a while. Yes, it's been a while. I didn't think you'll be in the inner land since you didn't even secure a place in the martial competition. I'm sure your cultivation base is terrifying now. Duan Ling Tian spoke slowly. There was a hint of surprise on his face. Some great encounters led me here. I was so happy because I thought a freak like you would be far behind me now. I didn't expect that you're still the same. You're still more powerful than I am. Chen Xiao Shui could not help but exclaim as he observed Duan Ling Tian. Seems like you really did have some great encounters. You're already at the 3rd level martial monarch stage now, Duan Ling Tian said as he looked into Chen Xiaoshuai's eyes. He had extended his spiritual energy out earlier and detected that Chen Xiaoshuai's current cultivation base was at the 3rd level martial monarch stage. Duan Ling Tian was surprised when he found out. You can see through my cultivation base in just a glance. You really live up to your name, Chen Xiaoshuai exclaimed. He did not seem surprised. But so what if I'm at the 3rd level martial monarch stage? I still can't compare to you. You're so great now. Not only did you become Prince Charming to all the women in the border, but you're also the sect master of Ling Tian's sect, a first-rate force. I heard you killed the old peak master of Yang sect from Yin Yang sect, Yang Hong. From what I know, Yang Hong was the best among all the 8th level martial monarchs. Chen Xiaoshuai's gaze turned more and more complicated as he spoke. He remembered Duan Ling Tian was a total monster back when they were at the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. His journey was tough after they parted ways at the Darkstone Empire. He had some great encounters that allowed him to elevate his cultivation base. He was traveling before he crossed the Ruo Shui River and arrived at the Inner Land, the central zone of Cloud Continent, where many powerhouses gather. Initially, he thought Duan Ling Tian would be far behind him now. However, the news he heard shocked him. Ling Tian's sect, Duan Ling Tian. In the beginning, he thought the sect master of Ling Tian's sect, Duan Ling Tian, merely had the same name as the monster he knew back in the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. However, his instinct told him there was a high possibility that this Duan Ling Tian was the monster he knew. That was the reason he came here. He wanted to dispel his doubts. The truth proved that his instinct was right. The sect master of Ling Tian's sect, Duan Ling Tian, was the same friend he knew back in the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. You're really up to date with the news. Duan Ling Tian smiled. He was in a good mood seeing his old friend again. Do I really need to be up to date to hear about the news? Chen Xiaoshuai rolled his eyes at Duan Ling Tian. You're a famous person in the border now? I heard many single virgins are planning to join your Ling Tian sect. I'm sure you know what their objectives are. The drinker's heart is not in the cup. 1. Chen Xiaoshuai said with a smirk. Oh right, you left with Luo Zhan back then. Did both of you part ways after that? Duan Ling Tian ignored Chen Xiaoshuai's words completely and steered the topic in a different direction. Duan Ling Tian's harmless words made Chen Xiaoshui shudder. The expression on his face turned ugly. What's wrong? Duan Ling Tian turned solemn. An ominous feeling rose from within. Luo Zhan's dead. Chen Xiaoshui finally spoke. His voice was gloomy and subdued. Dead. Duan Ling Tian's expression changed drastically as he narrowed his eyes. What happened? How did he die? Luo Zhan, or Crazy Young Master, was the leader of the 5 great young masters of Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom back then. They were close friends. He was the grandson of the guild master of the Weapons Craftsman Guild's main guild in the Azure Forest Imperial. He had helped Duan Ling Tian a lot. It was difficult for him to imagine how agonizing it must be for the old man when he heard about Luo Zhan's death. It's my fault. Nobody knew when tears began to stream down Chen Xiaoshuai's face as his body trembled. Luo Zhan and I were heading north at that time. We passed by the Darkhan Dynasty and Darming Dynasty before eventually arriving at the Northern Desert Land. We continued on with our journey after leaving the Northern Desert Land. By fate, we came across the secret treasure left behind by a martial emperor. We managed to successfully enter the place. We found many treasures when we were in there, like spirit fruits, concept fragments, and profundity fragments. We obtained many of those things, but we also encountered at least 10 inscription formations. However, we activated the last inscription formation left behind by the Martial Emperor powerhouse just as we were leaving. It was a killing formation. Luo Zhan discovered the killing formation first and pushed me out of the range of the formation. He missed the opportunity to escape because of that and was killed by the killing formation. Chen Xiaoshuai's face turned a little ferocious as he spoke to this point. If it wasn't for saving me, he wouldn't be dead. He would be alive. Luo Zhan. Duan Ling Tian took a deep breath and closed his eyes slowly. Based on Sword Young Master Chen Xiaoshui's words, if Luo Zhan was still alive, his current ability would not be inferior to Duan Ling Tian. Don't beat yourself up. Since Luo Zhan saved you, you have to live well for his sake, Duan Ling Tian said as he looked at Chen Xiaoshui, who was obviously in pain. I know, I'll live well and do the things he wanted to do, but never had a chance to. Hopefully, he'll be able to rest in peace. Chen Xiaoshui nodded. His chaotic emotion calmed down because of this. So what do you plan to do now? Duan Ling Tian asked. I've no idea. I've just arrived in the inner land not too long ago. Chen Xiao Shui shook his head. Why don't you stay in my Ling Tian sect? I'll grant you the position of an elder, Duan Ling Tian said with a smile. A Ling Tian sect's elder? Chen Xiao Shui's eyes lit up when he heard that. That's interesting. Sure, I'll stay at your Ling Tian sect for now. You can stay at Ling Tian sect, but I'll need you to make an oath, Duan Ling Tian said as he looked at Chen Xiao Shui cautiously. Back when they were in the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom, he remembered Chen Xiao Shui would spend most of his time at brothels. He would not be satisfied without women. Half of Ling Tian's sect consisted of female disciples. Duan Ling Tian did not want Chen Xiao Shui to do anything humiliating in his Ling Tian sect. What oath should I make? Chen Xiao Shui was stunned. He forced a smile and rolled his eyes at Duan Ling Tian at the same time when he heard Duan Ling Tian's words. I won't misbehave in Ling Tian's sect no matter how much I desire a lady. I'll have to take care of your reputation even if I don't care about mine. It's good that you think like that. Duan Ling Tian nodded with satisfaction. Let's go. I'll introduce you to some people. Duan Ling Tian said to Chen Xiao Shui before he brought him to meet Feng Tianwu, Xiong Quan, and Gold Thug. It was worth mentioning that Chen Xiao Shui stared unabashedly at Feng Tianwu for 10 breaths' time when he met her. Feng Tianwu was just too stunning with her beautiful face. He only stopped staring at her after he discovered Feng Tianwu's eyes were on Duan Ling Tian all the time. So she's Duan Ling Tian's woman. Chen Xiao Shui was secretly envious. I'll bring him to see Luo Ping. Duan Ling Tian left with Chen Xiao Shui to look for Luo Ping after informing Feng Tianwu and the other two. Although Luo Ping was only one of Ling Tian's sect's 3 vice sect masters, she was undoubtedly Duan Ling Tian's most trustworthy vice sect master. She was responsible for all the daily major and minor matters in the Ling Tian sect. She was the only vice sect master who could represent Duan Ling Tian. After leaving Chen Xiao Shui with Luo Ping, Duan Ling Tian returned to Feng Tianwu and the other two. Both of you spread the news. Tell people that Ling Tian sect is recruiting grade 1 weapons craftsmen and grade 1 alchemists. Yes, young master. Yes, master. Xiong Quan and Gold Thug left after they replied Duan Ling Tian. I'm afraid no grade 1 weapons craftsman and grade 1 alchemist would be willing to come if you spread the news this way. Feng Tianwu said softly to Duan Ling Tian after Xiong Quan and Gold Thug left. The frost on her face had melted a little. I know, that's why we've something more important to handle. Duan Ling Tian said with a smile. Something more important? Feng Tianwu was happy when she heard Duan Ling Tian's words, even though she was a little skeptical. He wanted her to handle the most important thing. It proved that she held a high position in Duan Ling Tian's heart. You'll find out very soon. Duan Ling Tian smiled and left her in suspense. Soon after, he left the Ling Tian sect together with Feng Tianwu. He was bringing Feng Tianwu to deal with the most important thing now. There was a big and bustling city in an area close to the southern side of Ruoshui River in the inner land on Cloud Continent. The big city was called Ataraxia City. Everything seemed peaceful in this city. There were almost no fights at all. If somebody got into a fight, they would be carried away by a group of powerful law enforcers. Nobody knew what happened to those people who were brought away since they were never seen again. The group of law enforcers who brought those people away was from the Zhou clan in Ataraxia City. Zhou clan was the #1 clan in Ataraxia City. It was also a first-rate force. Not only did they guard Ataraxia City, but they also controlled half of the properties in Ataraxia City. The other half of the properties in Ataraxia City was controlled by a few first-rate forces. One of them was the old Yin-Yang sect, currently known as the Ling Tian sect. Outside Ataraxia City, 2 silhouettes followed the crowd and entered the city. It was a young couple who looked like Romeo and Juliet. Very quickly, they became the center of attention. What a handsome young man. The lady next to him is so beautiful. She's a real beauty. Many people whispered among themselves. The 2 figures who had just entered Ataraxia City was Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu, who left Ling Tian sect earlier in the morning. Although Duan Ling Tian was the sect master of Ling Tian sect, and his name was known by everyone in the border, not many people have seen him before. Therefore, nobody recognized him in the crowded Ataraxia City street. You didn't find any useful clues when you went there previously? Feng Tianwu's question seemed random. However, Duan Ling Tian knew what she was asking about. They're careful. They didn't leave any trails behind. Feng Tianwu fell silent. After a while, she said, You'll definitely see them again. Duan Ling Tian nodded. There was a hint of concern in his eyes. Tian Wu, do you know why are we here? Duan Ling Tian looked at Feng Tian Wu and quickly changed the subject. Zhou clan, the big auction fair. Although Feng Tian Wu was stingy with her words, she hit the nail on the head. Duan Ling Tian was stunned, and he could not help but force a smile on his face. How did you figure that out? Many people were talking about it when we were entering the city, Feng Tian Wu said bluntly. She heard many people discussing the big auction fair happening at the Zhou clan's auction square today when they entered the city. That was why she suspected Duan Ling Tian's intention for this trip was to attend the big auction fair that was held every 3 months at the Zhou clan's auction square. I didn't expect you to be so attentive, Duan Ling Tian exclaimed. That's right. The Zhou clan's big auction fair is the purpose of our trip. I've been waiting for this day for many days now. There was only one auction fair in Ataraxia City. The auction fair was controlled by the Zhou clan. They would hold a big auction every 3 months. Meanwhile, they would have small auction fairs every day. After learning about the existence of Ataraxia City and the Zhou clan a couple of days ago, Duan Ling Tian had been waiting for this day to come when he found out about the big auction fair that Zhou clan organized every 3 months. The day finally came. Let's go. Let's head to the Zhou clan's auction square. The auction fair will start in an hour, Duan Ling Tian said to Feng Tian Wu and headed straight after turning right. Although it was his first time in Ataraxia City, he seemed familiar with the roads. Even Feng Tian Wu was stunned. Have you been here before? No, it's my first time here, Duan Ling Tian said honestly. He was familiar with the roads because Luo Ping had prepared a map of the entire Ataraxia City for him a couple of days ago. It marked the properties in Ataraxia City, including the one Ling Tian sect owned, as well as the location of the Zhou clan's auction square. Duan Ling Tian knew the layout of the place by heart. It was only natural that he knew the way to the Zhou clan's auction square like the back of his hand, since he had memorized the route. Feng Tian Wu nodded lightly after she heard Duan Ling Tian's words. I heard the Zhou clan's auction square is different from the usual auction space. It's an al fresco auction square, Duan Ling Tian said to Feng Tian Wu along the way. Soon after, Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tian Wu arrived outside the Zhou clan's auction square. There was a crowd gathered there. Most of them were just there to watch, while some of them were here to participate in the auction. We're going over there. Duan Ling Tian brought Feng Tian Wu to the other side. At this moment, individual pavilions appeared before their eyes. A broad path made of limestone in the middle allowed people to walk freely. Soon after, Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tian Wu arrived before the limestone path's entrance. They saw 2 pretty ladies standing on each side of the entrance. They had a smile on their faces. Although their clothing was plain, they looked elegant. One of the ladies looked at Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tian Wu and asked with a smile, Sir and Madam, may I know if you're planning on auctioning anything? Her voice was as sweet as an oriole. I'm auctioning 2 items. Duan Ling Tian nodded. May I know what items you are auctioning? The auction fair's starting soon. You're not allowed to auction ordinary items now, the lady asked. She was undoubtedly implying that the Zhou clan's auction fair would not auction ordinary items. I would like to auction off a grade 1 spirit weapon and grade 1 life recovery pill, Duan Ling Tian said calmly. He seemed unaffected by the lady's words. Grade 1 spirit weapon, grade 1 life recovery pill? I'm really sorry, sir. The Zhou clan's only auctioning items that are worthy of being in the finale, the lady said apologetically. In her opinion, although grade 1 spirit weapons were precious, it did not qualify as an item worthy of the auction fair that was held every 3 months at the Zhou clan's auction square. A grade 1 life recovery pill was even less qualified. It seemed like Duan Ling Tian had already expected the lady's reaction since he was not surprised. He said calmly, what if it's a grade 1 spirit weapon that gives a 90% boost and a grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 90% purity? Fwa. Duan Ling Tian's words reverberated in the air. The 2 ladies standing before him narrowed their eyes. They looked solemn now. Sir, can you bring out your grade 1 spirit weapon so that I can examine it? If it's really like you said, I'll bring you backstage to get someone to verify the grade 1 life recovery pill that you brought. One of the ladies did not really believe Duan Ling Tian's words. She said that to put Duan Ling Tian in his place so that he would leave. The boost to grade 1 spirit weapon granted could be tested by any martial artists with the origin energy in their bodies. However, the purity of grade 1 life recovery pills had to be verified by a professional alchemist. Of course, Duan Ling Tian knew very well that if he rejected the lady's request, they would think he was a fraud. It was unlikely the lady believed he had a grade 1 spirit weapon that granted a 90% boost. Therefore, he casually placed the grade 1 spirit weapon that he prepared in the lady's hand. It was a grade 1 spirit sword that Duan Ling Tian casually refined a few days back. It would grant the user a 90% boost in power. The lady thought she would be able to get rid of Duan Ling Tian. However, she was stunned when Duan Ling Tian took out the grade 1 spirit weapon. However, as a Zhou clan's auction square's personnel, she quickly regained her composure and took the grade 1 spirit weapon from Duan Ling Tian. Whoosh! When the lady swung the sword, it produced the crisp sound of sword whistling in the air. At this moment, a gust of origin energy came out of the lady's hand and merged with the grade 1 spirit sword. Fwa! Out of nowhere, 1,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared above the lady's head, displaying her cultivation base at the 7th level void transformation stage. Soon after, the heaven and earth phenomenon appeared next to the 1,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes. There were another 900 ancient horned dragon silhouettes, not more and not less. 90% boost. The other lady's bright eyes turned serious. Shock was written all over her face as she witnessed the scene before her eyes. Meanwhile, the lady testing the grade 1 spirit sword was dumbstruck. She did not think there really was a grade 1 spirit weapon in the world that could grant a 90% boost. The ladies very quickly regained their composure. After exchanging a look, the lady who tested out the grade 1 spirit sword returned the sword in her hand to Duan Ling Tian. Her attitude underwent a 180 degrees change. "Sir, madam, this way please." The lady led Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu along the limestone path after she spoke. There were many people sitting in the pavilions on both sides of the limestone path. It was obvious they were here for the auction fair at the Zhou clan's auction square today. Along the way, Duan Ling Tian was looking around curiously at the Zhou clan's auction square. The Zhou clan's auction fair looked lavish yet elegant. The ambience was not stifling. Instead, the ambience was quite cheerful. At the end of the limestone path was the Zhou clan's auction fair's high platform. It was the auction stage. At the back of the auction stage, 2 red cloths similar to curtains hung on a steel frame that was prepared beforehand. The backstage of the Zhou clan's auction fair lay beyond the red cloths. "This way, please." However, the lady who brought Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu in did not lead them backstage through the red cloths. They would undoubtedly draw everyone's attention if they did that. At that time, everyone at the square would know that Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu were here to auction their items. Just like the saying went, "Don't show your cards." Nothing good would come out of it. The lady led Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu around the stage. After taking a few hidden turns, they eventually entered a quiet tunnel and successfully arrived at the backstage of the auction square. However, it was only considered the outer ring of the auction square's backstage as the space was isolated by a couple of red cloths on steel frames. It gave off a sense of mystery. This should be where they serve people who are auctioning their items, Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. Soon after, Duan Ling Tian was proven right. "Sir and madam, please give me a moment." The lady who brought Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu here said to them before she parted the red cloths and walked in. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu were the only people left outside. They waited patiently. They even set up a soundproof inscription formation. Duan Ling Tian extended his spiritual energy out. He discovered the big shed made of steel frames and covered with red cloths had a simple inscription formation. It was not difficult for Duan Ling Tian to discover it was an inscription formation to soundproof the place. It was bright in the big shed. One could see many silhouettes busy working here and there. The lady who had recently parted ways with Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu was stopped by a man as soon as she walked in. The man asked in his deep voice, "Why are you here? Do you not know the rules?" "Vice Manager Zhou Li." The lady bowed immediately when she saw the man. The man was one of the vice managers of the Zhou clan's auction fair. He was in charge of keeping the auction fair in order and dealing with troublemakers. "I'm asking you, why are you here at a time like this?" Zhou Li asked impatiently. "There are 2 guests here. They want to auction off 2 items at the auction fair today." The lady immediately said, "Oh." Zhou Li's eyes lit up when he heard the lady's words. At this time, the Zhou clan's auction fair would only accept items that were worth being in the finale. Since the lady brought guests with items to auction at this time, it meant that the 2 items were outstanding. "Bring me to them," Zhou Li said to the lady. Yes, although Zhou Li was not responsible for this part of the auction, The lady did not dare to reject his request. She brought him to them immediately. Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tian Wu, who were waiting outside, saw the lady come out after a while. A man followed behind her. Sir and madam, this is the vice manager of our Zhou clan's auction fair, Zhou Li. The lady introduced Zhou Li to Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tian Wu as she looked at them. At this moment, Zhou Li's eyes were trained on Feng Tian Wu. He could not take his eyes off her. It was his first time seeing such a beauty. Zhou Li only looked away when Feng Tian Wu furrowed her beautiful eyebrows. He said with a smile, I wonder what items both of you are planning to auction off. She didn't tell you? Duan Ling Tian asked as he glanced at Zhou Li. Zhou Li looked at the lady next to him. Vice Manager Zhou Li, both of them want to auction off a Grade 1 spirit weapon and a Grade 1 life recovery pill. So, before the lady could explain how extraordinary the items were, Zhou Li interrupted her in his deep voice. Grade 1 spirit weapon? Grade 1 life recovery pill. Zhou Li looked at the lady in anger. Is this your first day working at our Zhou clan's auction fair? Don't you know that the big auction fair that's only held once every 3 months don't accept any items that are not worthy of the finale right before the auction starts? Or do you think a Grade 1 spirit weapon and Grade 1 life recovery pill are items worthy of being in our big auction fair that only happens once every 3 months? Zhou Li questioned the lady again and again. His tone became more and more impolite as he went on. A Grade 1 spirit weapon and a Grade 1 life recovery pill. They were considered precious items, but some of the well-known forces in the inner land could obtain them as long as they were willing to pay more origin stones. Although it was more difficult to obtain Grade 1 spirit weapons than obtaining Grade 1 medicinal pills, it was not impossible to obtain them. Therefore, these two items were deemed unworthy of being in the Zhou clan's big auction fair that was held once every 3 months. Vice Manager Zhou Li, the Grade 1 spirit weapon they brought is different from the usual ones. Faced with Zhou Li's continuous questions, the lady did not have the chance to speak up. Her cheeks flushed. How different can they be? Zhou Li scoffed. The Grade 1 spirit weapon that this sir and madam brought is a Grade 1 spirit weapon that grants a 90% boost in power. The lady explained immediately. A Grade 1 spirit weapon that granted a 90% boost in power? She had already tested it out? Zhou Li's eyes widened a little when he heard the lady's words. He looked at Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tian Wu immediately. His face that was previously somber had a charming smile. Sir and madam, I wonder if I can examine your Grade 1 spirit weapon? Zhou Li asked. Duan Ling Tian glanced at Zhou Li before he took out the Grade 1 spirit sword and passed it to Zhou Li casually. After obtaining the Grade 1 spirit sword, Zhou Li began to test it out. Eventually, he discovered the Grade 1 spirit weapon indeed granted a 90% boost in power. One must know that the usual Grade 1 spirit weapons that gave 87% power boost were considered good, and Grade 1 spirit weapons that gave 88% power boost were rare. A Grade 1 spirit weapon with 89% power boost was considered a supreme grade, while 90% power boost was the best of the best. Zhou Li's breath quickened when he looked at the Grade 1 spirit sword carefully. Best of the best. Zhou Li began to caress the Grade 1 spirit sword's body in his hands. It seemed as though he was caressing a lover instead of a cold object. Perhaps one would think a Grade 1 spirit weapon like this was similar to the regular one since the boost in strength was just little more compared to regular Grade 1 spirit weapons. But the value of this Grade 1 spirit weapon was not entirely reliant on how much of a boost it could give to a martial artist. A Grade 1 spirit weapon that gave 90% power boost was rare. It was undoubtedly an extremely precious item, especially to some Grade 1 weapons craftsmen. It might even be possible for one to lure a Grade 1 weapons craftsman into making 100 Grade 1 spirit weapons with this spirit weapon that gave a 90% boost in power. A Grade 1 spirit weapon like that was definitely a treasure to Grade 1 weapons craftsmen. There was a chance they could learn to craft Grade 1 spirit weapons that gave a 90% boost if they could study it. If they were successful, their names would spread far and wide on Cloud Continent, and it would be remembered for an eternity. Grade 1 weapons craftsmen did not lack anything. The only thing they lacked was a moment to make a mark on history. They would be able to enjoy the glory, and many would remember them for hundreds and thousands of years at least before they were forgotten. They would have no regrets in their lives. Your vice manager Zhou Li, right? Is my Grade 1 spirit sword worthy of being in your Zhou clan's auction fair now? Duan Ling Tian asked as he glanced at Zhou Li. Yes, of course. Zhou Li nodded immediately. He looked at Duan Ling Tian with bright eyes as he asked, I heard that both of you are also auctioning a grade 1 life recovery pill. Can you bring it out so I can verify it? After Zhou Li saw the grade 1 spirit weapon that granted a 90% boost in power, he was eager to have a look at the grade 1 life recovery pill. He had a strong feeling that the grade 1 life recovery pill was just as extraordinary as the grade 1 spirit weapon in his hands. It was unlikely that it was a regular grade 1 life recovery pill. Duan Tian shook his head after he looked at Zhou Li. It's better if you get an alchemist to do that. Sir, Vice Manager Zhou Li is an alchemist, the lady next to Zhou Li said. Zhou Li revealed a proud smile on his face. However, his smile froze soon after due to Duan Tian's words. You're an alchemist? Which grade? Duan Tian looked at Zhou Li. He frowned as he said, we'll need at least a grade 2 alchemist to see the purity of a grade 1 medicinal pill. Sir, I'm a grade 3 alchemist. Although I can't see the purity of a grade 1 medicinal pill, I can still get a rough feel of it, Zhou Li said after he took a deep breath. A grade 3 alchemist. Duan Tian frowned even harder now. After a while, he said calmly, never mind then, I'll put up with it. Never mind, put up with it? Zhou Li's lips twitched. He held back the rage rising from within and tried his best to force a smile on his face. Sir, please show me the medicinal pill so that I can verify it. Whoosh. Duan Tian lifted his arm to toss the grade 1 life recovery pill to Zhou Li. After grabbing the grade 1 life recovery pill, Zhou Li began to examine the pill meticulously. His eyes changed from looking lost to shocked. All this happened in a blink of an eye. A grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 90% purity. Zhou Li exclaimed out loud. The lady standing next to him was also shocked. A grade 1 medicinal pill with more than 90% purity? Such grade 1 medicinal pills really existed? Although the boost of the spirit weapon was significant compared to regular spirit weapons, the value of a grade 1 spirit weapon that gave more than a 90% power boost lay more with the grade 1 weapons craftsman's desire to obtain it. However, a grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 90% purity did not only have the same value as the spirit weapon that could give a 90% boost. Its medicinal efficacy was a few folds more than regular grade 1 life recovery pills. Such grade 1 medicinal pills could save lives during critical moments. It could do what a regular grade 1 life recovery pill could not do. In terms of value, this grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 90% purity was far more valuable than the grade 1 spirit weapon that granted a 90% boost in power. Sir, may I know where did you obtain this grade 1 life recovery pill? Are there more pills? Zhou Li stared at Duan Tian urgently. A hint of greed flashed in the depth of his eyes. Although the flash of greed in Zhou Li's eyes disappeared as soon as it appeared, Duan Tian did not miss it since he was observant. No more. Duan Tian shook his head at Zhou Li's question. I found these 2 items in a ruins. I looked everywhere back then, but didn't find anything else. Do you mean you only have 1 spirit weapon and 1 medicinal pill? He asked Duan Tian. He looked into his eyes while he thought about the grade 1 spirit sword and grade 1 life recovery pill in his hands. Yes. Duan Tian nodded stiffly. However, there was a subtle smirk on the edge of his lips. As soon as Duan Tian finished speaking, a quaint copper mirror appeared in Zhou Li's hand. He immediately pointed it at Duan Tian and Feng Tianwu. Demon Revelation Mirror. Duan Tian could tell with just a glance that the copper mirror in Zhou Li's hand was not a normal mirror. It was a mirror that showed a demon's true form. Soon after, Zhou Li looked at the copper mirror. A charming smile appeared on his face when he saw the human man and woman reflected in the mirror. They're not demons. He was finally certain the young couple before his eyes were not demons, but humans. One of them was approximately 25 years old, while the other was in her early 20s. Such humans would not have outstanding abilities no matter how talented and how powerful their comprehension was. Vice Manager Zhou Li. Duan Tian narrowed his eyes when Zhou Li was putting the Demon Revelation mirror away. His tone was much colder now. Don't you think it's impolite to point the Demon Revelation mirror at someone? The Demon Revelation mirror was not rare on Cloud Continent, even though it was very useful. It could discern if someone was a demon or not. If a demon looked into the mirror would show its true form. No one would randomly point a Demon Revelation mirror at someone else since it was considered rude. Impolite. Zhou Li was stunned when he heard Duan Tian's words before a grin formed on his face. Do I need to be polite when talking to frauds like both of you? Frauds. Duan Tian narrowed his eyes when he heard Zhou Li's words. Meanwhile, Feng Tianwu, who stood next to Duanling Tian, was emitting a terrifyingly cold aura. Her beautiful face had also turned colder. Even the lady next to Zhou Li was surprised when Zhou Li lifted his arm and put the Grade 1 Spirit Sword and Grade 1 Life Recovery Pill in his hand away in his spatial ring. "If both of you want to live, run as far as you can," Zhou Li shouted. His eyes revealed killing intent as he looked at Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu. It was obvious that Zhou Li was robbing Duanling Tian's Grade 1 Spirit Weapon and Grade 1 Life Recovery Pill in broad daylight. The reason he pointed the Demon Revelation Mirror at Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu earlier was to make sure both of them were not demons. Since they were not demons, they were harmless. Now he could openly steal the items they were planning to auction off, as though it was a matter of course. Zhou Li ignored Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu after he was done speaking. He looked at the lady who was standing next to him and calmly said, "Follow me." The lady turned a little pale when she heard that, but she obediently followed Zhou Li into the auction fair's backstage. "I want him dead," Feng Tianwu said coldly and took a step forward. She was ready to chase after him. "You're no match for him." Duanling Tian extended his arm and grabbed Feng Tianwu's hand to stop her. "It's not difficult to make someone return something that belongs to me." Duanling Tian mumbled softly as his eyes gleamed. His voice was cold. Feng Tianwu turned around to look at him. Whoosh. Subsequently, Duanling Tian took the lead and entered the auction fair's backstage. Feng Tianwu followed behind him. At this time, both of them were instantly thrust into the limelight, since it was obvious they were outsiders. They were strangers to the people at the Zhou clan's auction fair. "Who are you?" many people asked while frowning. "Who are we?" Duanling Tian smirked. His eyes were trained on Zhou Li, who was standing at the side, and he calmly said, "You'll have to ask Vice Manager Zhou Li about this." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Zhou Li instantly became the center of attention. Soon after, a dignified old man in silver robe took a step forward and looked at Zhou Li. He looked annoyed and asked Zhou Li with a frown, "What's happening, Zhou Li?" "Manager." Zhou Li did not dare to delay as he greeted the silver-robed old man respectfully. The silver-robed old man was the manager of the Zhou clan's auction fair. After greeting the silver-robed old man, Zhou Li looked at Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu calmly and said, "They're just frauds. I'll get rid of them right away." He did not seem surprised at Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu's appearance. Zhou Li stared at them coldly and said slowly, "I wanted to let both of you go. Since you're asking for death, I'll fulfill your wish." His voice revealed a hint of killing intent. "Deal with this quickly. The auction will begin in half an hour. Don't complicate the situation," the silver-robed old man said as he glanced at Zhou Li. "Yes." Zhou Li responded immediately and looked at Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu. His eyes were filled with killing intent. "If the Zhou clan doesn't hand over my things today and give me a reasonable answer, don't even think about having this auction ever again at the Zhou clan's auction square." Duanling Tian looked calm as he faced a ferocious-looking Zhou Li. However, his voice was filled with arrogance, and he did not bother to tone it down at all. Fwa! Duanling Tian's words reverberated in the air. The faces of everyone in the auction fair's backstage, including silver-robed old man, changed immediately. They were glaring furiously at Duanling Tian. A threat. That was a naked threat. This purple-clad young man was threatening their Zhou clan's auction fair and their Zhou clan. "You're dead, brat." Zhou Li's face turned somber as the killing intent in his eyes intensified. He was getting ready to attack Duanling Tian as he moved. Whoosh. However, a silhouette appeared out of thin air before Duanling Tian and blocked Zhou Li's way. He stopped moving immediately. "Manager, what are you doing?" A silver silhouette was standing before Duanling Tian at the moment. It was the Zhou clan's auction fair's manager, the silver-robed old man. He looked at Duanling Tian and questioned in his deep voice, "Are you threatening our Zhou clan?" "You can say that," Duanling Tian casually replied the silver-robed old man. He did not seem worried about what the Zhou clan might do to him. "You're very daring," the silver-robed old man said. "I don't think I'm daring. I'm trying to be reasonable. I believe the Zhou clan is a righteous clan and will not harbor a parasite in the clan," Duanling Tian said as he looked pointedly at Zhou Li. It was obvious who he was talking about. "What nonsense are you spewing?" Zhou Li looked at Duanling Tian. A hint of panic flashed in his eyes, and he was enraged. "How dare you say you're trying to be reasonable when you're trying to cheat our Zhou clan's auction fair?" Zhou Li looked at the silver-robed old man again as he said, "Manager, You should get ready for the auction. Let me handle this small matter. I'll get rid of them right away, Zhou said as he looked at Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu. It was as though he was looking at two dead people. There's no rush. I want to know what happened exactly, the silver-robed old man said as he looked at Zhou. Zhou heard his words and looked at a lady standing in the distance. It was the lady who brought Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu in. You, come over here. Tell the manager what happened. The lady's expression changed slightly when she heard Zhou words. However, she quickly unclenched her teeth and walked toward him. The silver-robed old man frowned. He did not understand what was happening. Manager, she's the one who brought them in. It's better if I let her tell you about the details of what happened, Zhou explained. The silver-robed old man nodded and looked at the lady before him. Tell me. Yes, manager. It was obvious that the lady felt a little uneasy facing the old man. She said slowly, Manager, these two guests said they have 2 items that they would like to auction off earlier. I told them unless they have something that's worthy of being in the finale, we don't allow anyone to enter our Zhou clan's auction fairs backstage. The lady looked at the man and woman who were coldly staring at her when she spoke. There was a sense of guilt and helplessness in the depth of her eyes. At that same time, the lady spoke to Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu via voice transmission. I'm sorry, sir and madam. There's nothing else I can do. Vice Manager Zhou said if I don't do as I'm told, not only will he kill me, but he'll kill my family as well. Feng Tianwu's face turned somber. The killing intent in her eyes intensified when she looked at Zhou again. Although Duanling Tian remained calm outwardly, a hint of coldness flashed in the depth of his eyes. Not only did Zhou rob him of his things, but he even threatened a weak lady using such a dirty tactic. He had already sentenced Zhou to death in his heart. He would not be able to let this go if Zhou did not die. These two guests said the items they want to put up for auction are treasures that are worthy of being in the finale. So I brought them to the auction area and got Vice Manager Zhou to verify it. The lady continued to speak. When Vice Manager Zhou met them and asked them to bring out the items they want to put up for auction, they hesitated and didn't bring out anything in the end. Vice Manager Zhou was furious because of that. He condemned them and said they're trying to cheat our Zhou clan's auction fair and asked them to leave. Who knew they would turn around and accuse Vice Manager Zhou of taking their things and chased after him backstage. The moment the words left the lady's mouth, chaos erupted in the backstage of the Zhou clan's auction fair. Trying to cheat our Zhou clan's auction fair means that you're trying to cheat our Zhou clan. Vice Manager Zhou was being humane when he told you guys to scram. Yet, you still dare to accuse him of taking your things. You deserve to die. This is my first time seeing such shameless people in my entire life. The group of Zhou clan people was filled with righteous indignation. Their words were impolite and blunt as they glared furiously at Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu. After the silver-robed old man, the manager of the Zhou clan's auction fair, heard the lady's words, his face turned glum. He looked at Duanling Tian before he asked in a deep voice, Is there anything else you want to say? Duanling Tian glanced nonchalantly at that silver-robed old man and asked, There's no need for you to care whether I have anything else to say or not. Right now, will you believe me even I say anything? From the very beginning until the end, his face remained calm as though he did not notice the imminent danger. Or perhaps, he did not classify this as a danger at all. Manager, why are you still talking nonsense with him? Get rid of them. It's time for us to prepare for our auction fair, Zhou chimed in. Am I right? Zhou turned to look at the other people present in the backstage of the auction fair. That's right. Kill them. They defamed Vice Manager Zhou and looked down on our Zhou clan. They deserve to die. Indeed, they deserve to die. Zhou words were like the blasting fuse that fully ignited the atmosphere of the auction fair's backstage. Each and every one of the Zhou clan's member was itching to flay Duanling Tian and Feng Tianwu alive. It was only when the silver-robed old man raised his hand that the auction fair's backstage fell silent again. I'd really like to hear your explanation regarding this. The old man said at a speed that was neither too fast nor too slow as he looked at Duanling Tian. Manager, there's no need to waste your time on these liars. The moment Zhou heard the old man's words, his eyes turned sharp as he chimed in. In my opinion, we should just kill him. Then, he strode out and stood beside the old man. He was about to attack Duanling Tian, but the old man raised a hand to block him. What? Vice Manager Zhou, are you afraid that you'll be found out, huh? Duanling Tian flashed a smile at Zhou that caused him to panic. His face turned grave but he snorted loudly. What's there for me to be afraid of? Don't tell me that I, Zhou really took your things? Well, you don't have the final say on whether you took my things or not. Duan Ling Tian's smile remained on his face. Of course I know I don't have the final say. Didn't you hear what the people said? You're all liars. You just want to create a disturbance at our Zhou clan's auction fair. Zhou Li snorted. Oh really? Duan Ling Tian took a good look at Zhou Li before raising his hand. A sword and a pill appeared in his hands. Didn't you ask me if I have the same spirit weapon and pill with me? I'm sorry, I forgot that I do indeed have them in my spatial ring. The moment Zhou Li saw Duan Ling Tian taking out the spirit sword and pill, his face turned pale immediately. His eyes narrowed when he heard Duan Ling Tian's words. You're the manager of this Zhou clan's auction square, right? Duan Ling Tian looked at the silver-robed old man before he casually passed the sword and pill in his hand to him. Earlier, this subordinate of yours, Zhou Li, pocketed my grade 1 spirit sword and life recovery pill. How ridiculous. Before the old man could say anything, Zhou Li snorted. Do you think our Zhou clan are lacking in grade 1 spirit swords and life recovery pills? Why would I need yours? Well, I don't know if Zhou clan is lacking in that or not. However, I can see that you're definitely lacking. Duan Ling Tian replied nonchalantly. You're looking for death. Upon hearing Duan Ling Tian's words, Zhou Li could no longer hold it back anymore. He was infuriated. Zhou Li seized the opportunity when the old man reached out to take the grade 1 spirit sword and life recovery pill that Duan Ling Tian passed to him. His origin energy skyrocketed from his body. Profundities followed closely like shadows as his entire being transformed into a cannonball that shot toward Duan Ling Tian. Zhou Li, the silver-robed old man who had just taken the spirit sword and pill, did not expect Zhou Li to attack Duan Ling Tian after he had dissuaded him. For a moment, his face turned grave since he felt as though his prestige had been challenged. However, even if he wanted to save the purple-clad young man, it was already too late now. Zhou Li's attack was just too sudden. It was so sudden that he still did not regain his senses. Boom. Soon after, a loud explosion resonated. Everyone from the Zhou clan thought the purple-clad young man had already been killed by Zhou Li. However, along with the series of explosions, a flurry of hurricanes swept through. They were shocked by the scene before their eyes. Dear Lord, what did they just witness? The purple-clad young man stood there unharmed while Zhou Li was curled up on the ground. He was rolling frantically on the floor as cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Zhou Li was holding his lower abdomen in pain while he rolled in a frenzy on the floor. At the same time, he pointed a trembling finger at Duan Ling Tian as he screamed, Why, you crippled my Dantian? How ruthless of you. You're so ruthless. Silence. The entire scene fell silent. The Zhou clan's members were very clear about Zhou Li's background. Zhou Li was an elder of their Zhou clan. He was only in his 50s, and yet, he was already at the 4th level martial monarch stage. His strength was extremely astounding. However, today, his Dantian was crippled in one blow by a young man who looked as though he was only 25 years old. Sir, isn't this a little too much? The silver-robed old man, who was the manager of the Zhou clan's auction fair, glared coldly at Duan Ling Tian. Too much. Duan Ling Tian smiled. He robbed me of my grade 1 spirit weapon and pill, but he still wanted to kill me. I've only crippled his cultivation base, and you think that it's too much? We still haven't reached a conclusion yet regarding this matter. The silver-robed old man looked at Duan Ling Tian with dread on his face as he said in a deep voice, I've worked with this Zhou Li for many years now, so I know him pretty well. Just a mere grade 1 spirit weapon and life recovery pill are not enough to rouse his greed. That's right. I think so too. Many Zhou clan's members nodded their heads in agreement. Each and every one of them was glaring at Duan Ling Tian, but none of them dared to make a move. Like the silver-robed old man, they were surprised by Duan Ling Tian's strength. He crippled Zhou Li's Dantian with just a blow. Even this silver-robed old man, the manager of the Zhou clan's auction fair, feared Duan Ling Tian's strength now. Zhou Li, who was in so much pain that he almost felt numb, finally stopped rolling on the floor. He looked at the silver-robed man. He was covered in cold sweat as he urged in bleak voice, Manager Zhou Ji, kill him and avenge me. Avenge me. The silver-robed old man, the manager of the Zhou clan's auction fair, was named Zhou Ji. In the face of Zhou Ji's query, Duan Ling Tian's expression remained unchanged. He said calmly, If it's just an ordinary grade 1 spirit weapon and life recovery pill, it would not have roused his greed. However, Do you really think that my grade 1 spirit weapon and life recovery pill that are qualified to be the finale items in your auction fair are only ordinary items? The moment Zhou Li heard Duan Ling Tian's words, terror could be seen in his eyes. However, all Zhou clan's members, including Zhou Ji, shifted their eyes to the grade 1 spirit sword and life recovery pill in Zhou Ji's hands. Aren't they just a grade 1 spirit weapon and a grade 1 life recovery pill? What difference could it have? Many people were skeptical. Swish. Zhou Ji raised his hand. A gust of pure origin energy gushed out of his hand and entered the grade 1 spirit sword he was holding. For a moment, the sound of sword whistling resonated in the air. It was crisp and pleasant to the ears. Just from the sound, they could tell it was a good sword. Swish. Soon after, a silhouette of an ancient black dragon appeared above Zhou Ji's head, displaying his cultivation base at the 7th level martial monarch stage. In the next instant, the heaven and earth phenomenon appeared next to the ancient black dragon's silhouette. A total of 9,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared before everyone's eyes. When most of the people were carefully studying the ancient horned dragons and trying to count them, Zhou Ji regained his senses and cried out, "A 90% boost! A 90% boost?" The crowd burst into an uproar. They had never seen nor heard about any grade 1 spirit weapon that could give a 90% boost before. However, one had appeared right before their eyes today. Many people gulped and asked with slight difficulty, "Sir Manager, this grade 1 spirit sword really gives a 90% boost? What? Are you doubting my words now?" Zhou Ji glared at these people who were speechless before he turned to look at Duan Ling Tian with a shocked expression. Slightly awestruck, he asked, "May I ask you, sir, who's the maker of this grade 1 spirit sword? This is casually made by one of the grade 1 weapons craftsmen in my sect. What do you think? Can it be the final item in the auction fair held by your Zhou clan today?" Duan Ling Tian answered indifferently and bluntly. Of course. Zhou Ji immediately nodded his head before shifting his gaze toward the grade 1 life recovery pill in his hand again. "Zhouan, you're a grade 2 alchemist. Take a look at this grade 1 life recovery pill." When the crowd was still taken aback by the boost of the grade 1 spirit sword in Zhou Ji's hand, Zhou Ji looked at an old man with white hair and casually threw the grade 1 life recovery pill in his hand to him. The old man, whose name was Zhou, and began to examine the life recovery pill. After just a glance, his body began to tremble violently. What's wrong with Elder Zhouan? Could it be the grade 1 life recovery pill is special or something? It must be so, with the grade 1 spirit sword serving as an example. The Zhou clan's members present did not dare to look down on the purple-clad young man's grade 1 life recovery pill. After a moment, Zhouan finally returned to his senses. His body trembled uncontrollably, and he yelled excitedly, 9 to 91% purity. This is grade 1 life recovery pill has a purity of 91%. The moment the words left Zhouan's mouth, the entire scene fell silent again. A grade 1 life recovery pill with 91% purity? Oh God, how terrifying the medicinal efficacy must be. When the Zhou clan's members at the backstage of the auction fair were still shocked by the grade 1 life recovery pill with 91% purity, a nonchalant voice resonated in the air and attracted everybody's attention. Trying to escape? Duan Ling Tian raised his hand, and an invisible force grabbed Zhou Li, who was trying to escape from the auction fair's backstage. His hand in the air seemed as though it was gripping a throat. As for Zhou Li, his throat was gripped by an invisible force that seemed to have transformed into an invisible hand. His face was flushed as he was lifted into midair. His eyes were bulging, and he could not make a sound at all. "Sir, please have mercy," Zhou Ji hastily pleaded as he looked at Duan Ling Tian. "Have mercy?" Duan Ling Tian cast a glance at Zhou Ji nonchalantly and asked in reply, "Do you think that's possible?" "Sir, Zhou Li is the only son of a Zhou clan's grand elder. If you kill him, you'll only be inviting harm to yourself." Zhou Ji knew that a soft method would not work on him, so he switched to a harsher method instead. It was as though he was afraid Duan Ling Tian did not know how powerful their Zhou clan's grand elder was. He continued to say, "Our Zhou clan's grand elder is one of the best in our Zhou clan. He's at the 8th level martial monarch stage. Although I'm a 7th level martial monarch stage martial artist, I'd most likely die in just a blow if I fight with our Zhou clan's grand elder." Zhou Ji continued to play up their Zhou clan's grand elder's power. Zhou clan's grand elder? 8th level martial monarch stage. However, Duan Ling Tian did not take Zhou Ji's bait at all. He looked at Zhou Ji indifferently before his hand that looked as though it was gripping a neck suddenly tightened. Crack! A crisp sound of bone breaking resonated in the air. Although the sound was not particularly loud, it had taken everyone, except for Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu, by surprise. It made their hearts leap. Everyone from the Zhou clan, including Zhou Ji, turned pale immediately. Bam! Zhou Ji, whose neck was broken by Duan Ling Tian, fell to the floor. The profundity fragment in his body and his spatial ring were in Duan Ling Tian's hand now. Why you? Zhou Ji looked at Duan Ling Tian, speechless. He was shocked by Duan Ling Tian's action. He actually dared to kill the only son of the Zhou clan's Grand Elder. In his opinion, this young man was doomed. Many other Zhou clan's members shared the same thought with Zhou Ji. However, there was a small group of Zhou clan's members who thought otherwise. Ever since he entered the backstage of our auction square, his face remained calm. There was no trace of panic on his face at all. At first, I thought he was just putting on a show, but I finally understand that he thinks nothing of us at all. There's still no trace of panic on his face even after he killed Zhou Li, the Zhou clan's Grand Elder's only son. It seems like he's not afraid of the Grand Elder at all. He's not afraid of the Grand Elder at all. How strong is he exactly? Earlier, he said the Grade 1 spirit weapon that could grant a 90% boost is made by a Grade 1 weapons craftsman from his sect. A sect that has such an extraordinary Grade 1 weapons craftsman must not be an ordinary sect. Perhaps he's a disciple of a first-rate sect in the center area of the Inner Land. A small group of Zhou clan's members whispered among themselves. The Inner Land could be considered as the center of Cloud Continent. There were many powerhouses who were gathered there. The center area of the Inner Land, on the other hand, was the core center of Cloud Continent. There were more powerhouses there who were even more powerful. The moment they heard the whispering of the small group of Zhou clan's members, most of the other Zhou clan's members, including Zhou Ji, felt that they had a point. Their faces immediately turned grave in unison. Indeed, a Grade 1 weapons craftsman who could make a Grade 1 spirit weapon that could grant a 90% boost would not have joined an ordinary sect. Although their Zhou clan was a first-rate force as well, it was ranked in the last few places among the first-rate forces in the Inner Land. It was a first-rate force that was ranked at the bottom on Cloud Continent. The closer it was to the center area of the Inner Land, the stronger the first-rate force was. Zhou Ji took a deep breath and looked at Duan Ling Tian before he asked, "May I know which sect you are from, sir?" "You'll find out which sect I'm from in no time. In case the Zhou clan claims that I framed him, please take my things out from Zhou Li's spatial ring." Duan Ling Tian replied nonchalantly to Zhou Ji's query. He raised his hand and threw Zhou Li's spatial ring to Zhou Ji. Zhou Ji cast a complicated glance at Duan Ling Tian before performing a blood ownership claim on Zhou Li's spatial ring. Soon after, he took out a spirit sword and a pill. Although they were already mentally prepared, they still burst into an uproar the moment they saw Zhou Ji took out the stolen goods from Zhou Li's spatial ring. Each of them looked at Zhou Li's body in contempt. What a disgrace to our Zhou clan. Moreover, he was the son of our Grand Elder. He really brought shame to our Zhou clan. Although Zhou Li had turned into a corpse, there were still many people who sneered at him. Put the sword and pill back before you remove the blood ownership claim on the spatial ring and give it back to me. As for the previous sword and pill, if your Zhou clan's auction fair is willing to auction it for me, I'll hand them to you. If you're unwilling, I'll take them with me and leave. Duan Ling Tian said nonchalantly as he looked at Zhou Ji. Of course we're willing. Zhou Ji replied without any hesitation. Moreover, the Zhou clan's auction square will help you auction these two items for free, sir. While Zhou Ji spoke, he put the sword and pill back into the spatial ring that Zhou Li left behind before he removed the blood ownership claim on the spatial ring and returned it to Duan Ling Tian. In that case, thank you, Manager Zhou Ji, Duan Ling Tian replied after he took a good look at Zhou Ji. You're welcome. In the face of the young man who seemed to not fear their Zhou clan's Grand Elder, Zhou Ji did not dare to be negligent in fear of offending someone he was not supposed to offend since he did not know the young man's background. Soon after, Zhou Ji looked at the lady standing by the side who was shaking in fear and asked Duan Ling Tian, "Then, how do you want to deal with her, sir?" Smack. When Zhou Ji's words left his mouth, the lady kneeled down in front of Duan Ling Tian and smacked her head on the ground loudly as she bowed. "See, customer, I know that I'm wrong. It's alright if you want to take my life. However, after I die, I hope you'll have mercy and let go and my family go. The lady knocked her head on the ground. She begged for mercy, not for her life, but for her family's lives. She was afraid Duan Ling Tian would vent his anger on her family. Seeing as you tried explaining to me via voice transmission earlier, I won't make a fuss about this, Duan Ling Tian said indifferently. Thank you, customer. Thank you, customer. The lady quickly thanked Duan Ling Tian. The customer is not making a fuss, but you still don't want to get up? The auction fair is about to begin. Why are you still not bringing him to the VIP area? You better serve the customer properly. Otherwise, you don't have to come here anymore. Zhou Ji frowned when he saw the lady was still kneeling on the ground. Yes, yes. Upon hearing this, the lady returned to her senses. She hastily stood up before looking at Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu. Please follow me. She proceeded to lead Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu, who was following her from behind. After Duan Ling Tian left, the backstage of the Zhou clan's auction square fell silent again. You send Zhou Li's body back to the clan. Apart from that, tell the clan leader about everything that has transpired here today. Before he finds out the young man's identity, it's better not to alert the Grand Elder, who's still in closed-door cultivation. Moreover, don't take the initiative to attack at all. Zhou Ji looked at one of the Zhou clan's disciples. When he reached the end of his order, he remarked with a cautious expression, I have a feeling he's not that simple. The moment the Zhou clan's disciple heard his order, he responded respectfully, yes. He lifted Zhou Li's body before he left. Okay, everybody, get ready. The auction fair is about to begin. Zhou Ji told the others. Yes. The crowd of people replied one after another. At another side, under the lady's guidance, Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu finally arrived at an area that was closest to the auction stage. There were rows and rows of standalone pergolas as well. Some pergolas only housed one person, while some housed a group of 3 to 5 people who were animatedly chatting with each other. It was apparent they came here in a group. Oh, there are people who wear masks here too. Soon after, Duan Ling Tian noticed there were many people in the VIP area who were wearing masks. It seemed as though they were afraid other people would recognize them. Duan Ling Tian could faintly guess their intentions. It was precisely because they were worried they would attract attention when they placed their bid during the auction. With the masks, nobody would know who was bidding for the items. After that, they could just take off their masks and walk away as though nothing had happened. Customer, this way please. The lady led Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu to an empty pergola. There were a stone table and stone stools in the pergola. Apart from that, there were also good wine, dainty dishes, and fresh fruits placed on the stone table. After Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu sat down, the lady kept watch in the front of the pergola after telling the two of them, customers, just call me if you need anything. After she finished saying this, she continued to keep watch in front of the pergola. There were many pergolas in the VIP area. However, the only pergola that had somebody from the Zhou clan's auction square keeping watch was none other than the one that housed Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu. The pergola instantly stood out like a stork in a flock of fowls. It attracted many people's attention. Who is so arrogant? They actually have a specially assigned servant to serve them. Many people were curious. A young man who was dressed luxuriously sat in a pergola near Duan Ling Tian's pergola. An old man stood behind that young man like a shadow. I'd love to see who's this person that the Zhou clan treats so well. Even I don't have anyone serving me. The luxuriously dressed young man heard the commotion in the surroundings and saw a lady standing outside a pergola. His face instantly turned grave. In the next second, he stood up and brought the old man over to that pergola. Dear customers, there's someone here. When the luxuriously dressed young man brought the old man over and was about to enter Duan Ling Tian's pergola, the lady who was standing outside quickly stopped them and smiled. Please find another place to sit, dear customers. Scram. When the luxuriously dressed young man saw the lady blocking his way, the young man who was originally unhappy became angry. He raised his hand and thrust a palm out as fast as lightning. Boom. A loud explosion reverberated in the air. The lady was instantly killed by him. Blood splattered inside the pergola.